Hi everybody and welcome back to Markonomics 101 presents Hoot Loot, the place where you come to be informed, be amused, never be misled. We are always going to tell you the way it is, whether it's good or bad, because you cannot make good decisions based on bad information. Today's show on November 6th is going to be called Cryptos and Stocks poised to move much higher. And I have not been a very big fan of stocks at these levels, cryptos at these levels. But you know what? Some of the time you just have to cut your losses. You have to realize that you're wrong, and you have to look at enough things that tell you you're wrong to where you just get out and you wait again. Because there's no point in writing something down when something's been telling you it's going to go down and you just decided to ignore it because you had a worldview. I've talked about a worldview the whole time. That a worldview is a view where you're stuck, where you just absolutely refuse to believe anything else other than what you believe, no matter how much factual information can be presented to you. There are too many people in world views right now. I'm a little bit there. I try not to. I try to be flexible because when you trade, you have to incorporate new information. You can't get stuck and stubborn on what you thought yesterday. What you thought yesterday might be just totally irrelevant, and it might be totally relevant. The stock market can change on a dime, and with all these forces out there, that are trying to manipulate it, it's pretty rough navigation. So if we're also going to methodically go through, some of the some of the QR codes and things like that, and just get caught up on a few things. And what I'd love for you to do is like and subscribe right down here. And we're going to tell you some stuff that is so informative you'll never hear it anywhere else, certainly in school, certainly by the media, but it's important for you to know to make the decisions that are very important that you're going to need to make coming up in the next few months. The next few months are critical. All right, now how about we're back with the charts, and we're back with some very interesting charts, and these give you sort of a context of what we're talking about. Nothing is certain. The only constant is change in the markets, and you have to realize that you cannot take a perspective and just be stubborn and stick with it forever. You'll get killed. I should know. I should know that very well. Everybody does it. And, I see from the comments a lot of complacent people thinking that they're just going to, clean up and this is so easy. Well, guys, I was like that too. So I can't, I can't be too snotty. But I'll tell you, you're going to learn the hard way. And the hard way is the only good way. So, just be careful. Do your due diligence. And complacency is really an enemy of you and of a trader and of an investor. So, keep that in mind. It's not that easy. If it were, there, the whole world would be rich with money and no goods. We'd have all sorts of paper. We'd have all sorts of no goods because nobody would be ever producing anything. They'd be trading. What kind of world would that be? You can eat your profits for that day. Now, Bitcoin future curve, I put this on here for a reason. Bitcoin originally sold as a future. Okay, now a futures contract, I talked about it before, but I want to talk about it a little bit more. Futures contracts came into being when farmers would grow crops and contract with another party to deliver 6 months down the road when harvest was good. So that's how the futures market came about. And you'd buy different ones, sell different ones, closer ones, farther ones, whatever. But that's how they got product sold out there so that it was sold, so they didn't get stuck with it. I mean, you don't want to get stuck with bushels and bushels of apples after you forgot to sell them to people out there. And there's a good market for them. You can either, in general, collect the item itself. It can be delivered to you on that date, or it can be settled in cash by virtue of contracts being eliminated or crisscrossed. So one of the things I want to talk about Bitcoin is not settled. in items. It can't be settled. It's nothing. There's no Bitcoin. So in a futures market, you take delivery. You take delivery of oil. You take delivery of gold. You take delivery of bunds, of German bunds, of all kinds of things. You can even take delivery of dollars, but you settle in dollars. In Bitcoin, you can't take delivery of Bitcoin because there is no such thing. Who's going to give you a Bitcoin? Where is it going to go? So you settle in coin. You settle in cash. Now, that I call betting. And that is one of the most deteriorating things going on in society today. We have become a betting society. And you know what? Betting is not made to win. There's always a little bit of friction in betting, and most people will lose, and most people don't even know why they lose. They just see, big money ahead of them. So Bitcoin here, what I wanted to show you is where it says Friday on the bottom. Notice that it's sloping up. Now, sloping up means that you can contract to receive Bitcoin or settle Bitcoin, say in May, December, January, February, April, et cetera, et cetera. The farther out, the higher the price. Now, there's no reason the price should go higher. It doesn't pay a dividend. It doesn't earn earnings. It's nothing. It's a password. Passwords do not earn a return. So people are paying more for exposure to Bitcoin out there when it's just a gamble. I mean, there's nothing there and there's nothing to be delivered. There are options and you can't deliver those either. So I don't quite understand, what the point of this was other than because you can't accumulate them. I thought this was at first, I thought it was a way to accumulate them. You can't do that, because you can't take physical delivery. And, I don't even know who has any to physically deliver. That's the thing I'm really wondering. All right, so let's go back to Bitcoin again, one of the canaries in the coal mine. I'm going to talk about this for a few more weeks here. I think, something's happening. We're going to follow it. I don't think it's quite dead yet. I still will say what I said the other day. I have never needed a Bitcoin. Have you? For anything. I mean, did you need to pay for something with a Bitcoin? Did you need to do anything with one? I didn't. And so, I don't understand why these prices are being paid for something that has no utility. You don't buy things with Bitcoin. Nobody does. All you do is you buy and you sell and you speculate against the dollar and you gamble and lose most of the time. But tell people you make money most of the time. That's the thing. Tesla, unbelievable again. I mean, this thing, you just cannot deny that speculative money is coming in here in a crazy hurry. I mean, Tesla's gone up 6 days in a row. They had a deal with Hertz for $4 billion, $4 billion, and that has led to about a $250 billion increase in value. Do you know that's that puts it like in the top 30 just based on a sale that may not even happen. And it may not even be conducive to happening because it's a rental system, not an owned system. So, we'll have to see about that. But you gotta love any place where, for a $4 billion sale, you become $70 billion richer, and you're now $70 billion richer than everybody else on the planet. Good job, Elon. I got to take one of your con courses one day. Bitcoin Cash. This one, Bitcoins are. Cryptos are starting to show some life, and I didn't think they would. I think they were just going to go. And I've got to say that I was a little bit wrong. I'm going to show you where you see when you're wrong. Okay, and this is not one of them. You take companies that are in the same sector and you look at how they're doing. Are they also benefiting from the sector? Will there be a use? Bitcoin, no. Bitcoin Cash, no. Now we're going to go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and again, breakout. And what I said was a long time ago, I've said this for about a year or a year and a half or two or whatever, the longer these sideways patterns, the bigger the breakout. And I would say right now, I would not want to get in the way of the Dow. I wouldn't want to get in the way of anything, because basically the Dow is going to go up, the money's chasing it, nobody seems to think they're complacent, and that can go on for a while. John Maynard Keynes said, a British economist from long ago said markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And boy, I hope no, because I hope not, because I can't stay solvent all that long. Um, the S&P 600 small cap, again, beautiful pattern, breaking up. This is the kind of thing that tells me we've got a little bit of time. It's not just going to be a head fake. I really don't think this is a head fake. I think this is another move. Maybe not as big of a move, but another move. Dow Jones Transportations, what can I say? Dow Theory, we have a Dow Theory buy signal. Dow is up and making a new high. Dow Transportation's making a new high. That has gone back 100 years. It's not the greatest indicator, but let me put it this way. This is a little bit of a sign that we're just in great shape. Transportations are doing really well, and I find that very hard. I guess they're getting better margins from all the bottlenecks and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, but the economy is a disaster, and yet some of these companies are doing incredibly well. Ethereum has made a new high, and I mentioned this on Wednesday. This is a reason why I think crypto may just have another leg up. I'm going to guess there's 11,000 cryptos. I don't know how cryptos can just stick around for 11,000 of them. It must be awfully easy to make. I mean, what do? You draw them on a sheet of paper and here's your crypto, or here's your password. I don't know. But the thing is, 11,000 produces no GDP, and it's not doing anything for this country. I don't need one. I don't know anyone that needs one. No one's told me they've needed one. Oh, I need one so I can get rich. Well, yeah, you lost all your money. Good job. Um, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust was actually the first ETF-like security. The Winklevoss brothers put it together. It's actually not bad. It may lose a little bit, from the administrative costs, but usually an instrument like this, you're not going to get hacked, stolen, and lost. And so that gives you a little bit of extra protection. 25% of cryptos are gone, is what I've read. The FBI is the biggest wallet holder. So, you got to kind of look at those facts, and they don't really help you. I mean, who has been helped by Bitcoin? People who have been lucky and made a ton of money, and people who have consummated illegal transactions. And that's it. And since I've done neither of those, I don't need one. Robinhood Markets came out partly, for, I would say, the newbie investor, the person that doesn't know anything. And I really hate seeing this, because what it does is it just brings lambs into slaughter. I mean, you can set up an account in almost minutes and start trading and not know what the hell you're doing. So I don't know. I'm very, very concerned about this, because it's not teaching people, fiduciary and financial prudency. What it's teaching people is gambling. And you know how gambling ends up. People lose more than they win. At least I do. MicroStrategy bursting up. This one looks like it's going to, start giving maybe Bitcoin some support. It's actually now starting to add some value for it. They're up on all their purchases, or pretty close. And so this is one that leads me to think that cryptos might have another move up. God to nowhere, I have no idea. Uh, Coinbase was, a huge broker. It first came down, and now it's sort of bottomed out, and it's going back up. I would give Coinbase, I think it looks like a pretty positive pattern. And again, if Coinbase and the broker dealers are doing well, Robinhood's not doing well, but Coinbase is a bigger one. Robinhood has other problems. They have short selling problems and other things like that. But Coinbase is really a pure crypto play, and so this one is a really positive one. Overstock.com was the first company to take cryptocurrencies in 2013. To date, 0.5% they've taken in cryptocurrencies, which tells you they are not currencies. They are nothing. They do nothing. They absolutely do nothing. You don't need one. You can have a credit card. You can have cash. You don't need cryptos. Cryptos are more complicated anyway. So Overstock, though, has traded with Bitcoin a lot. It's been sort of a proxy for it, and it's broken out. So I don't know if people are going to start buying with Bitcoin. I doubt it. But for whatever reason, there seems to be a like of Overstock.com because it has been a very early adopter of Bitcoin. 5-year Treasury yields, we did talk about the Fed the other day, and the 5-year Treasury yields kind of came down. They had bursted up quite a bit the other day. It's interesting. I'm going to show you in a little bit. Inflation seems to be tapering off. Now, I don't want to use the word taper exactly. I more want to say that it just doesn't go, steadily. It tends to go in bursts and starts, but nothing looks like it's going to reverse. It's just not, zooming up right now. The 10-year Treasury's barely gone up. Again, they're going down now. I still don't understand this, other than there's some kind of incredible conditioning, maybe, by the feds, because no one would buy this with half a brain. I don't know who would buy this other than, well, I guess the Fed would buy it because they have to, and it's just this is such mismanagement for us, for the people who hired these people to make these decisions and make good decisions for us. They basically sock us with 8% inflation, and they lend to us at 2%. Oh, how nice. Oh, how nice. They are there because they want us so badly. Have you ever thought about how much nicer this country would run if we had no re-elections and no incumbents? Have you ever thought about that? Guy couldn't run again, so he can't lie. There's no incentive to lie. There's no incentive to do anything. You go back and get a regular job, and that's it. 30-year treasuries are coming down. Now, these things are coming down pretty fast. And these, again, I mentioned on Wednesday that they're flattening out, that the fives, not as much today, but we'll have to keep an eye on these because, the shape of this curve is, first of all, it's really ridiculous. And number two, it's not conducive to a healthy economy. Treasury inflation protected securities, they burst out, kind of came back, burst up again. I'm going to give inflation. I'm going to say inflation is still working its way through the system, and while we may have the stock market go up, it may not show up because of the way that they calculate it. They really delay the calculations of inflation, and they also change how they calculate it, and so it tends to not be as accurate. But this one I like. Tip securities going up. No ambiguity. There's inflation coming. At least these guys see it. Copper miners. This is where I see the economy starting to slow down. And here's what's important: when there's more inflation and there's a slowdown in the economy, if there is a slowdown in the economy at some point, and I think there will be, you are going to get what's called stagflation, where you get no growth and high inflation. And that is the worst of all worlds. We suffered through it in the 70s, and trust me, you don't want to see it again. Silver is, I put it at a 20-year thing because it looks more like a pattern. The thing at the very end is called a cup and handle. That's a very bullish pattern. The dollar cannot be printed ad nauseum forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and not depreciate. It will. Even though it's held up for the last, several months, it will. Maybe people got too bearish on it. I don't know. But silver is one that when it breaks out of its cup and handle, it's got a long way to go. And I would still prophesize or surmise that we're going to see a new high in silver in not too distant future. Gold 20 years too. Gold did make a new high. It's in a consolidation pattern. When it breaks, it's going to go to, and it's going to. They're not making more gold, and they're making a lot more money. So, not real estate, not making a lot more money. Things like that are going to appreciate in value against the dollar. They simply have to, or we have to stop making dollars. Simple as that. And here's real estate. It's gone up a little bit. It's kind of slowed down a little bit here. There's some of the moratorium type talk across the nation. But, again, real estate is something that, it's kind of stopped for the moment. But, there's only so many dollars, and people are going to need to live in so many places. So real estate is a good place. If I had one choice of where to just park money for a while to, to earn some return, it would be real estate. And, you're going to see some ups and downs, but in general, you're going to see a good long rate return. It's not going to be high, but it's going to be at least okay. CBOE global markets. CBOE global markets. Now, last two times I brought these charts. I won't bring them too many more times unless they have something new to say. Right now, all they say is markets are going up, markets are going up, markets are going up. And I'll tell you, it's the hardest thing for me to think things are so overvalued and the market's going to go up. And I sit there and I look at these, and if I did not know anything else, I would say we're in for a big rally. So, take it as it will. Apple is in a massive bear flag, but it keeps making new highs too. And, there's no reason that this thing is going to turn around right now, but that flag is a massive bear flag. And that tends to suggest when this thing cracks, it's going to have a hell of a ride down. Right now, you don't have a problem with it. It's acting pretty well. Amazon, kind of neither breaks up or breaks down. We'll give it a neutral. Facebook has broken down a little bit. I'm surprised given the fact that, Mr. Sex Trafficker, Mr. QR, malicious QR, theft, Mr. Open drug sales on Instagram, Mr. Steal through WhatsApp, and Mr. Meta, now he changes his name because he doesn't want everybody to know what a piece of he is. Bye, Mark. Google has had an unbelievable time. I mean, they just hit on all four cylinders. Well, actually, all 8 cylinders. They're also going to compete against Tesla, and that should be really interesting. They have been very quiet about it, and these companies have the capital to do it. So, and they have the brain power to do it. So, one of the reasons I'm not that hot on these electric cars is the space is crowded. I mean, we're going to show you a couple other things here. Netflix, here's another one that's breaking out and pulling the NASDAQ up. You're just not going to see the market go down in the near future, unless some wild event occurs in the next 5 minutes. NVIDIA is now worth $800 billion. Do you realize that we have $5 trillion NASDAQ companies? Facebook is at like 900, and now we have NVIDIA at about 800. NVIDIA is a crypto chip maker, of course, because how can you make chips for something more precious than a crypto which doesn't exist? And plus we have they make gaming, and gaming takes really good chips. So these are premium chips, and NVIDIA has become the poster child for semiconductors. And as long as it's going up, we're going up. We got to wait for this thing to go down. And oops, I went a little too far. CVS, now retail is now starting to bump up again. It's 70% of the economy. CVS, I don't know if this is because of all the new jabs. Now we're up to 4 jabs with Pfizer. Boeing is an interesting one. I haven't done for a while, but Boeing looks to me like it might break out. And Boeing has had nothing but problems, but they are working on some new items, and we're getting more militaristic in this country right now, and Boeing is going to be a beneficiary of that. And there aren't many military contractors. I mean, there's only a couple, and a lot of times it's one bid, which is horrible. It's the antithesis of capitalism, the antithesis of a free market. But we do stupid things like that because we have a federal government that doesn't understand that if you force people to bid against each other, they might come up with lower prices and better ideas through competition. But they don't know that. How would they know that? They probably never had a job. So if you don't have a job, you don't learn these things. That's why you got to vote the incumbents out, because they should go and learn these things and then get a job. And then we'll have a whole new set of people in, and hopefully they'll get the message, and then we'll vote them out if they don't get the message. Okay? We fire them. They don't fire us. We fire them. Okay? I mean, don't think of them as your rulers. They're not your rulers. We employ them. We pay for them. Okay? Get them out of here. Fire them. There's 2% of the people that like them. Why are we holding on to these idiots? All right, American Airlines is looking pretty good too, breaking out. So is Delta. Walmart, is selling Bitcoins in 200 vending machines. So absolutely the lowest possible buyer, or the most inexperienced buyer, will buy there because the commissions are like 10%. You buy it at a slot machine, you buy it through a vending machine, you're not going to get you're not going to get the SEC to do an audit at the end of the vending machine. So Walmart is kind of picking off the last few remaining suckers, is at least what it appears to me. Visa also is broken down like MasterCard, so keep an eye out. There are things that are breaking higher, looking good. Things that are breaking lower, looking bad. So we're going to have a fractured economy. I do think there's enough to go for a little while, and probably around the end of the year is maybe when we're looking. This is not just a little rally. This is likely to be a pretty good rally without some external event like a nuclear bomb detonated somewhere, God forbid. UPS, this one, transporting things all around, doing good. MasterCard, not doing well. So again, retail sales don't appear to be doing well. FedEx, now this looks the opposite of UPS. It's down at the lower end. It is not, it is not really coming up too much, but it's important. There aren't that many, ways to transport. There's rails, there's ships, and the ships are off of Los Angeles right now. 58,900 containers, I read, at $100 penalty each. I mean, it's just insane. So. And the broker-dealer index, there are a whole bunch of new deals coming. I mean, I have a hard time believing that we'll turn before SpaceX, because SpaceX is going to be a big payday for everybody. So they'll do what they have to do to keep the market higher. And I think SpaceX is going, I don't know, 74 billion. Let's see, Tesla's gone up from like 700 to 1,200. Yeah, so we had to see SpaceX at about 120 billion. Just watch. Bank index still doing pretty well. So we don't have a lot of types of sectors that just aren't doing well. I mean, everything seems to be going up together, and that's what's amazing to me, even though there are bottlenecks and jams and all that kind of stuff. And finally, digital world. I put this in there last week because it was a Donald Trump type of acquisition company. So far, I don't think it's done anything. I thought that maybe it would be more volatile in response to political fortunes. I'll watch it, but I'm not sure that that's actually happening. And here I want to talk about my favorite part of the show, the least and most trusted people in the world. They forgot me, doctors. It should be Marco on top of doctors. Marco, 99.99%. Only Ace doesn't trust me, and for good reason. For good reason. I pull on his tail every once in a while. But everybody trusts me. Everybody knows me. And if I were a girl, I'd be all over me. If not for the fact that I look good, for the fact I'm honest. And scientists. Geez, I don't know how they put scientists up there, but I'll go with that. The most important thing here, though, really is politicians generally, and government ministers, bankers, and journalists. Those are the bottom five. How do they all fit together? They are basically reelected, and they are there basically ruling us. They can't rule us anymore. We've got to stop this. There's too many of us. So I would like to implore you to join us. We're going to start the Vote Out the Incumbents movement. We've trademarked it, and we're going to have some really neat tchotchkes about it. And that's the only way to restore this country back. No more term limits. They'll never do term limits by themselves. So we're going to have to force term limits down their throats. And that's what I'm going to do till my last breath. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I appreciate it. I hope you learned something today. Feel free to comment anytime, and please like and subscribe and watch some of our older episodes. They've got equally incredible stuff in there. We are not towing the party line. We are towing the truth, and nothing but the truth. And with that, I want to say thank you very much. We will see you next Wednesday.